Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome, everyone, to the Monday, March 11th, 2019 meeting of the Durham County Board of Commissioners. I will now share the public charge. Board of Commissioners asks its members and citizens to conduct themselves in a respectful, courteous manner, both with the board and fellow citizens. At any time, should any member of the board or any citizen fail to observe this public charge, the chair will ask the offending person to leave the meeting until that individual regains personal control. Should decorum fail to be restored, the chair will recess the meeting until such time that a genuine commitment to the public charge is observed. As a courtesy to others, please turn off all cell phones during the meeting. And I now ask that you rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Agenda adjustments. I actually have one, which is item item 19-0115 will be the presentation about My Brother's Keeper mini grant program will be postponed until our March 25th meeting. Any other agenda adjustments? Okay, seeing no other adjustments, I will move on to the announcements. Rabies vaccinations. The Durham County Sheriff's Office is offering rabies vaccinations at the Animal Services Division, 3005 Glen Road, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And there's only a $10 cash fee, and please bring photo ID. Any questions? 919-560-0630. Donate books to the Friends of the Durham Library. Donations are accepted every Tuesday, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. between Sears and Catherine's at the exterior of Northgate Mall, 1058 West Club Boulevard, and volunteers are there who can help unload your car. For more information, 919-560-7159. Give us your needles. The Durham County Safe Syringe Program aims to keep you and our community safe. You can also pick up free naloxone kits from the pharmacy at the Durham County Human Services Building, 414 East Main Street, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Friday. Please call 919-560-7632, or the website will be on our announcements. The website will be on our website, information about the announcements. My Brother's Keeper, MBK, Durham Mini Grant Program, accepting applications. So this is, we will have more information about this at our March 25th meeting, but keep your ears out for more information about how you can apply for this program. 2019-2020 Durham pre-kindergarten programs are now enrolling. Your 4-year-old child may be eligible to attend Durham County's NC Pre-K program, Durham Pre-K, and or Durham Public Schools pre-kindergarten. For more information or to apply, please do one of the following. Call 919-314-6813 to set up an appointment until through May 16th. You can also visit www.dpfc.net/our-work/NCPK There are other websites. I'm not going to go through them in the announcements, but again, please check our website to get the other information about websites to apply. Walk-in is also available at the East Durham Children's Initiative, 2101 Andrew Avenue, between 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on March 18th, on April 1st, 15th, or 29th. You can also walk in from 4 to 6 p.m. and on March 19th or April 7th, 2nd, 16th, or 30th. Again, please look at our website for the details. People will be there and can help you fill out the application materials for any of these pre-K programs. Safe haven for online sales. The Durham County Sheriff's Office can provide you with a safe and secure location to complete online sales. This is available Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., as well as during regular business hours, and Saturday and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. You can also call 919-560-0900 to schedule an appointment, or we will meet you at the courthouse parking lot on South Roxborough Street and Pettigrew Street to conduct safe internet sales. LEAP, Low Income Energy Assistance Program, is for all Durham residents, is still taking place through March 31st. Applications are taken at the DSS Crisis Lobby number 27, Monday through Friday, 414 East Main Street, 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. You can call 919-560-8000 to schedule an appointment. Walk-ins are also welcome. This is for heating only, and please bring a photo ID, Social Security card, income verification, and verification of heating source heating bill to your appointment. Please mark your calendars for the Women's Health Awareness 2019, a women's wellness conference with free health screenings, education sessions, healthy living sessions, and health resources, Saturday, April 6th, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Marytown Science Building at 1900 Concord Street at the NCCU campus. This event is free, but if you register by Friday, March 15th, you can actually get a lunch, is what I've been told. And you can call 984-287-4414 for more information. Boys of Color Conference is coming up. My Brother's Keeper Durham and North Carolina Central University Male Achievement Center will kick off their inaugural conference on April 13th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Miller Morgan Auditorium, 1801 Fayetteville Street, NCCU campus. This year's theme is Be the Change, the rededication to Black male achievement. This event is free and aimed for males ages 14 and up, and pre-registration is suggested. You can find out more information on our website about how to register. Volunteers and sponsors are also needed. Please contact My Brother's Keeper at dconc.gov for more information, or if you're interested in volunteering or being a sponsor. We're 150 years old, y'all. This is the 150th anniversary of Durham, the city of Durham, and there are lots of events happening that you can find out about on the city's website also, and please save the date for the inaugural events on April 13th. Durham's first Youth National Track and Field Championship is going to be happening at Durham County Memorial Stadium, hosted by the Durham Sports Commission. This is very exciting, and we want to make sure all of our local athletes and spectators know about the event. Registration is currently open. You can go to www.athletic.net to find out more information about championship passes and single-day tickets. Alert Durham, please sign up for Alert Durham at www.alertdurham.com, and we just got results back from our 2017 survey. 2018 survey that showed that our Alert Durham membership has increased, which was great to see. And lastly, please get involved. We have 43 boards and commissions in Durham County, and we welcome your involvement. We need your help. And you can find out more information from the clerk's office at 919-560-0025. Any other additional announcements? Seeing there are no announcements, we'll move on to our minutes. We first have our January 28th minutes. I'm pulling these separately because I just want to mention one correction just that needs to be added on page 6. The word should be, on the January 28th minutes on page 7. I just noticed the word should be station areas. It's on the third paragraph on page 7. So, sorry, I did not notice that sooner. Anything else about the January 28th minute?
Move approval.
Moved by Commissioner Recco, seconded by Commissioner Hill. With that correction, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And unanimously approved. Second, we have the February 4th, 2019 minute.
Move approval.
Moved by Commissioner Recco, seconded by Commissioner Hill. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And the February 4th work session minutes are unanimously approved. We have some ceremonial items this evening, and we have Commissioner James Hill as the sponsor of this item, and so I'm going to pass this to you.
Durham Board of County Commissioners Proclamation Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month 2019. Whereas March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, and whereas colorectal cancer is the second leading cause of cancer death among men and women collectively in the United States, and whereas 1 in 20 people will be diagnosed in their lifetime, and whereas the incidence of colorectal cancer for people younger than 50 years of age is increasing, and whereas 60% of deaths caused by colorectal cancer can be prevented with screenings, and whereas routine screenings for colorectal cancer enable early detection and treatment, and whereas the American Cancer Society recommends that regular screenings for colorectal cancer begin at 45 years of age, and whereas people with 1 or more family members who have had colorectal cancer are at increased risk for diagnosis. And whereas Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month is a good time to encourage people of all backgrounds and ages to be aware of the signs and symptoms of this type of cancer. Now, therefore, I, Wendy Jacobs, Chair of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, on behalf of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim March 1st through 31st, 2019 as Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month in Durham County. We pause in recognitions of all those who have completed a battle with the disease, along with family members and advocates who continue to educate others about colorectal cancer and the research that will hopefully reveal the cure for this devastating condition in the future. This, the 11th day of March 2019. Wendy Jacobs, Chair, Durham Board of County Commissioners. Thank you. As it was stated in the proclamation, screening is vital. This is a cancer where we're starting to see, we're seeing a trend of this cancer affecting, colorectal cancer affecting younger and younger people. It's vital that we get screened and we take care of ourselves. Go to the doctor. I know people don't like that screening, right? It's not the most fun thing in the world, but it's vital that we get those screenings so we can protect ourselves, and if we are affected by this cancer or any other cancer, that we have an early diagnosis. So, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill, for bringing that to our board. Very important to make. I actually did not realize that the combination of for women and men was there was such a preponderance of it. I didn't know it was the second leading cause of death, cancer death for both men and women. Thank you. Appreciate that. Commissioner Recco.
I want to thank my colleague, Commissioner Hill, for bringing this forward. I lost my dad way too early associated with this cancer. And as a result of having a family history, I have to go in twice as often as most people, but it's important to do, and I do it. And I think that publicizing the fact that really in the scheme of things, taking a half a day to protect yourself against such a virulent cancer is a very important thing to do. So hope we can help educate people about the need to get screened. So thank you so much for bringing that forward.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We have a resolution supporting the Juvenile Crime Prevention Council allocation expansion, which Commissioner Howerton is a member of that board, and she's going to read that resolution.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And it's my honor to read this. The Durham Board of County Commissioners resolution supporting Juvenile Crime Prevention Council allocation expansion. Whereas Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, better known as JCPC, funding is a partnership between the state of North Carolina and the county to ensure a local continuum of services for court-involved and at-risk juveniles. And whereas the Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, under the authority of NCGS 143B-851, and within the scope of its powers and duties, each county council shall annually review the needs of juveniles in the county who are at risk of delinquency or who have been adjudicated undisciplined or delinquent, and the resources available to address those needs. In particular, each county council shall assess the needs of juveniles in the county who are at risk or who have been associated with gangs or gang activity, and the local resources that are established to address those needs. And whereas the Juvenile Justice Reinvestment Act, passed in 2017, also referenced as North Carolina's Raise the Age legislation, expands the age of juvenile jurisdiction, increasing it to include juveniles aged 16 and 17 years of age, effective December 1, 2019. And whereas raise the age legislation will increase the need for immediate and age-appropriate sanctions and diversion services for juvenile offenders and those at risk of delinquency, and whereas JCPC funding has seen no increase in more than 9 years, and whereas the efforts of immediately and effectively address juvenile offending behavior in an evidence-based investment in North Carolina's future, and whereas effective intervention and programming reduces detention and youth development commitments at a cost saving to the state and county. Now therefore be it resolved, we, the members of Durham County Board of Commissioners, fully support an adequate and timely increase of local juvenile crime prevention funding to ensure program expansion and successful implementation of the Juvenile Justice Reinvestment Act, raise the age legislation set for December 1, 2019. This 11th day of March 2019, Wendy Jacobs, Chair, Heidi Carter, James Hill, Vice Chair, Brenda Howerton, and Ellen Reckow.
Thank you, Commissioner Howerton, for bringing us this important resolution. We know that we applaud the Juvenile Justice Reinvestment Act, but we also need the funding from the state government to support implementation of this act. There's going to be a lot of needs associated with this, and this resolution is supporting, ensuring that the act can be successfully implemented. I would like to suggest that we, this is a resolution that we ask our fellow boards of commissioners around the state to also consider also passing similar resolutions.
Yes, it's already been sent to the association, and it's been addressed in several of the counties already, and we're continuing to ask all the counties to support it.
Okay, so do we need to do anything to send this ourselves, or?
We can send this to Kevin at the association just to make sure that he has it.
Okay.
But we've also asked all the counties to support.
Okay. And I would suggest, though, that we also send it, Monica, to our representatives, the Durham delegation, as well. And I guess, Jody, do you have any suggestions of any other people that we should make sure we send the resolution to? Because I know you've been working on this.
Good evening, Board of Commissioners. I would also suggest that we include a copy to Secretary Hooks, who's the Secretary for Department of Public Safety, and his staff to make them aware.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Recco?
Well, I was going to suggest we send it to our local delegation. You already said that. I do want to emphasize there's two key points to the resolution. One is funding to help with the implementation of the Juvenile Justice Reinvestment Act, but also to expand the programs-based funding. As was pointed out, there hasn't been a funding increase in 9 years. And the truth is that we get reports on juvenile crimes in our community for young people. And the truth is we've seen progress based on the implementation of the good work of the JCPC in terms of funding programs that work. You monitor the results, and we've seen good results. And so the point is that we can help prevent crimes and be proactive by investing in programming that is preventive or where interventions occur early. And so that is a very important aspect of this initiative.
all of our programs are monitored, and they are, we have to do a monitoring visit before they are funded for the next cycle. So we really keep in touch with that to find out what's the progress that is being made, and how we can support the programs.
Thank you. So Monica, we'll send those on to the delegation and Representative Hooks and to Kevin Leonard at NCACC. Thank you so much. Commissioner Carter.
I just had a question. I mean, I certainly support this resolution and the basic meaning of all the different clauses here. I just don't quite understand the last one. Could anyone, I don't know whether I'm just not reading it correctly, the last whereas clause. Whereas effective intervention and programming reduces detention and youth development commitments as a cost savings to the county. What are youth development commitments? Maybe that's what I don't get.
When young people go into a place like our youth home or into the state juvenile system outside of Durham, those are much more expensive. So it is very cost effective to use intervention.
So basically commitments to youth facilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The youth development commitments just to me reads weird.
It's what they call it instead of being put in prison.
Yeah.
They don't want to use that word for.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I hear the phrase youth development a lot, and it's a positive thing, not something you want to reduce. But
Yeah.
in this case, I see what you're saying. Well, thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have our consent agenda items. I have one person signed up to speak on item 19-0114. Are there any other items? Oh, and actually, I need to make a correction. The agendas that were handed out tonight were actually an older version of our agenda, and our most recent version had 3 announcements that I need to share, which is that one is that there's a open house for the Durham 4-H Club, which is on April 5th, 6 to 8 p.m. at Cooperative Extension, 721 Foster Street, for an evening of fun, games, and light refreshments, and an opportunity to get to know Durham County's 4-H Teen Council. Registration is required for this event. Please call 919-560-8295. So great opportunity for our teens. Kids voting, Durham 2019 is underway. Another great youth opportunity. Durham-themed civic activities for youth, schools, and families are planned. And lots of things like Durham's 150th anniversary, youth survey on Durham, youth candidate guide, youth candidate forum. So please find out more from Carolyn Kruger at 919-560-7321.
Are you saying that those things are on your agenda, not on everybody else's?
Right. I have a copy of what we should have got, which is not.
Okay.
So Monica highlighted for me these announcements and one more, which is that Northern Durham Convenience Center is having a community open house. Join Durham County staff as they unveil the site plan for a new solid waste convenience center on U.S. Highway 501 between Rougemont and Bahama, with more capacity and better user amenities. The proposed facility will replace the Bahama and Rougemont convenience sites. This will take place on Tuesday, March 19th, 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. You can stop by anytime between 6 and 8 at the Bahama Ruritan Club, 8202 Stagville Road, to learn more about this project and the services and amenities planned for the new Durham North Convenience site. Center, and there'll be project team members available to answer questions and discuss the project. Commissioner Reckow.
Well, I want to commend the staff. That's record-breaking speed. It seems like we just approved the purchase of the land, and you're opening the center already. So congratulations.
No, I
on.
think it's the planning.
Oh, it's not the plan, it's the plan. I was going to say, I can't believe that you were opening the center the way it read.
Yeah.
I wish that would be a real feather in our cap.
I know.
What
So
we're
this
doing
just
is-
the planning.
We're doing the planning piece. We have to actually go out to the community to share what is possibly the schematic for the site
Okay.
and collect that information so we can go to planning department. So we're not quite there yet, but we'll get there sooner than you think.
And I think it's,
Glad I got clarification.
So with those announcements, can we make sure that we put them on the website so that we don't even have to create more paperwork, but at least put it
Yes.
on the website so that citizens and the rest of us can see them?
absolutely. And Mo, I appreciate that you all are getting input from the community as well. Thank you. Okay, back to the consent agenda. Are there any other items to be pulled or any other comments on any items? So
Move approval?
So we will approve 19-0031 through 19-011. I'm sorry, 19-00, no, 19-0109. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
We need a motion.
We need a second
Okay.
of the
I have a
motion.
motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Howerton, seconded by Commissioner Hill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the consent agenda items are unanimously approved. I just want to highlight,
Thought there was one person.
I'm going to pull
Yeah,
that,
was that one?
Well,
got pulled.
You pulled,
Yeah, we pulled that one.
out. You
Yes.
didn't.
I pulled it out. I didn't include it. Yes.
Okay.
And I just want to highlight the item related to the affordable housing policy that we have now approved with the city council and the county commissioners to direct surplus properties that the county cannot use to the city to be able to be used for affordable housing. So very proud of our staff and all of the work on that. Thank you. So the pulled item is 19-00, I'm sorry, 0114, and we have Kevin Primus signed up to speak on this item. Could you just state your name and address? And you have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Primus. I live at 3703 Kilgo Drive. I just wanted to speak very enthusiastically to support this item. Recognize and approve a donation of $50,000 to the My Brother's Keeper Durham program by the public-private partnership with Aetna. I first became interested and learned about the My Brother's Keeper Alliance and My Brother's Keeper Initiative when I was working on a documentary on a football player named Jerome Bettis in Pittsburgh. Some of you might not remember Jerome Bettis. He was a large running back with really quick feet, kind of like the Zion Williamson of football back in that day. And I want to read this because I think it's really important we understand how important something, $50,000 might not seem really important in the big scheme of a big budget, but that it's directed towards helping African-American young men is really important, and that it's from an outside source, that we can take advantage of people that understand this is a problem that affects us all. And as W.B. Du Bois said, the problem of the 20th century is the problem of the color line, but we didn't solve that problem in the 20th century, so it's still the problem of the 21st century. I just want to read this little quote from a news article about Jerome Bettis. "Some kids won't be as fast or as big as I was," Mr. Bettis told the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette during a phone interview. "But we have to try to devise similar opportunities for them." To do that, the former Steelers running back and a host of business, political, and social leaders have teamed up with My Brother's Keeper Alliance, a national nonprofit launched last week, this was back in 2015, seeking to close opportunity and achievement gaps for young men of color by targeting 6 educational milestones in their lives. Mr. Bettis was selected for the council because, in his post-NFL career, Mr. Bettis has shown that he is determined to prove that anything is possible for children with a dream and a willingness to work hard. Addressing economic and educational roadblocks facing young men of color is tantamount to their success, Mr. Bettis said. Once you address those, I think everything else is minor in comparison. There's one particular incident in Jerome Bettis's career that really sheds light on where we are today with helping African-American young men in Durham County. And Pittsburgh was, I'm going to be brief and amazing, Pittsburgh was on the 1-yard line after they'd won 4, they were in the process of having to win 4 games in a row just to make it to the playoffs. They're on the 1-yard line, they gave the ball to Jerome Bettis, who never fumbles on the 1-yard line, and he fumbled on the 1-yard line. The other team got the ball, they got into field goal position. I'm sorry if you don't know football, just pretend. And the best kicker in NFL history was on the Indianapolis Colts. And he missed the field goal. And the Steelers went on to the next round. They went to the Super Bowl, and Jerome Bettis was a Super Bowl champion in his hometown of Detroit after a long career of only wanting, to be a champion. And so I say this because I think $50,000 might not look like a huge amount, but it's what it represents. And to me, it's parallel to where we are with affordable housing and transit, that we have $1.2 billion that the federal government wants to give to Durham and our region for light rail. And we cannot forget that we can't just give opportunities if there aren't jobs. We're talking about 30,000 jobs around light rail transit that we lose. These are jobs that our people can get. 2,500 construction jobs that African-American young men can get, and we have training built around that. We cannot allow a fumble on the 1-yard line, okay, to cost us $1.2 billion, $2.5 billion, $3.3 billion, whatever you want to call it. We can't allow my alma mater to stand in the way, cause a fumble on the 1-yard line. We have to push through and get this through. Thank you.
Thank you. So I would like to move approval of 19-0115.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Carter, seconded by Commissioner Howerton. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And the item is unanimously approved. We are going to have a report on our, actually, I moved the wrong number. I'm sorry. I moved the number that is, it's not 19-0115, it's 19-0114. So,
I amend my motion to approve 190114.
Well, I think we need to rescind the previous motion.
Did you rescind that one?
want to rescind it, and then,
I rescind my first motion on, what was it, 1115?
Oh, wait a minute. With that one
Wait a
was
minute.
part of the,
It's
no, it
confusing.
needs to be 0114.
have we approved?
No, we haven't approved one.
And that one wasn't the thing that was pulled.
It's 0114.
But I just want to get clarified. So this one got pulled earlier from the agenda.
0115 was already pulled from the agenda.
So we do need to rescind it.
That's what I was.
So
so
that's-
was
I just
rescind-
wanted to get that
Yes.
clarified. Okay,
I rescind my first motion.
second.
Favor?
Oh, wait, are we rescinding the vote? I think we're rescinding the vote, right?
Yes.
Right.
Rescind the vote.
So don't we have to vote to rescind the vote? Okay.
Moved by Commissioner Howerton, seconded by Commissioner Reckow.
And,
Send
and,
0115, the vote on 0115.
and I make a motion to approve 190.
We have to vote.
We need to vote on it.
So all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? And the motion has been, the vote has been ended. Now I'd entertain a motion to approve 19-0114.
Make a motion to approve 190114.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Howerton, seconded by Commissioner Reckow. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion is unanimously approved. We have a business item, 19-0054, which is for a report about our second quarter quarterly management report. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, members of the board, good evening. Leon is going to get the slides up and we will get started momentarily. Well, I think she's got them up, so it'll be quicker than momentarily. First thing I would like to say to the members of the board is for our quarterly management report tonight, we'll do this report in 3 parts, essentially. First part, I will look at and talk you through some of the selected project summary updates in the updated second quarter report. And then from there, we will transition to Greg Marrow, our Information Services and Technology Department Director, to give you a quick overview of our data transparency portal. And of course, from there, we will transition to our Budget Director, Mr. Keith Plain, who will walk you through some Power BI dashboards and examples to show you how all of this ultimately comes together. I won't spend any time talking about our strategic plan and managing for results. You know essentially what the goal areas are. But I'd like to go and just remind you once again that this report is going through this evolutionary process. And if you recall, during our first report a couple of 3 months back, you had an opportunity to see the project highlights, understand what the project summaries look like. It came to you in a draft form, and subsequently you gave us feedback. We continue that evolution, and tonight I want to take an opportunity to essentially walk you through some of the selected project summaries that I've pulled to share with you tonight. So the first one I want to talk about is essentially our library programs. As you know, the goal of our library programs is to encourage discovery, connect community, and to lead in literacy, and to develop a reputation as an expert in providing entrepreneurial services, to provide programs and lifelong learning opportunities for people of all ages. When we look at our program attendance totals from our first quarter, for those of us who are viewing at home, we are engaged in basically the adult humanities programming at our libraries. We have a tutoring program and, of course, a entrepreneurial services program. In the first quarter, in respect to the overall number of attendees for the 23 programs that we offered in adult humanities, you can see that the graphic displayed in front of you demonstrates that we had about 495 attendees. There were also 4 sessions in tutoring with about 56 attendees, and we had 6 program offerings with 55 attendees in the first quarter. We transitioned to Q2. Primarily what you see there is a significant amount of growth in respect to our overall adult humanities programming. We have had 633 attendees attend those programs. 16 programs were offered. As far as our tutoring programming in the library, we grew from 56 attendees to 475 attendees with 33 sessions. And of course, last but not least, in our entrepreneurial services program, we've grown from 55 attendees to about 9 programs. I'd next like to transition to Bull City United, which is effectively our Cure Violence program. The goal of our Cure Violence program operated under Bull City United is primarily to stop shootings and killings in specific Durham neighborhoods by detecting and interrupting conflicts and identifying and treating individuals at high risk of involvement in violence, gun violence specifically, and of course, changing social norms that tolerate violence in the community. Now, When you look at the Q1 data from FY 2017-18 and Q2 data, primarily what you see there is 3 bar chart. The blue one represents number of persons shot. The middle bar, which on screen looks a little brownish, but I think it's between orange and brown, represents essentially the number of mediations that have in fact occurred. And of course, you can see the white bar, which represents the total number of participants. In McDougal Terrace and Southside census tracts, our successful mediations has essentially increased by 104%, from 77 mediations to 157 mediations.
So that's comparing from a year ago first
For Q1 and Q2 to the following year, Q1 and Q2.
really action shootings, because I looked at 50 shootings in just that small neighborhood. Looks like first quarter of this.
Actually, once you get the report online, essentially what you will find is this, specifically, Commissioner Reckow, in terms of the persons shot, the number of persons shot in those respective neighborhoods have decreased by 47%, from 15 to 8 when you
That's
compare
what I was,
quarter to quarter.
I could see that
See-
height.
Mhm.
chart.
Yeah, you just jumped ahead of me. That's
Oh, okay.
The last thing I want to share that I believe is important in this space and about the work that is going on with our Cure Violence program that is managed by Bull City United is this. As I said earlier, our outreach workers engage high-risk individuals. They talk to them about the cost of violence. They assist them in accessing services and support, including employment. And the number of program participants increased from 44 in Q1 and Q2 of FY 18-19. And of those 44 that participated, 40 were referred to full-time employment opportunities. And of those 40, 23 have successfully earned employment. And so, while we have obviously not solved all the problems, we are making progress in that space. The next
Say that again, how many employment?
of 40 participants who were referred for full-time employment opportunities, 23 have successfully gained employment. I want to transition now to our court date reminder program, all of which I think you are very familiar with. I think we received a couple of awards for this program since implementing it. The goal of the court date reminder program, of course, which is managed by our Criminal Justice Resource Center, is to reduce the number of defendants in our detention center because of a failure to appear charge and increase efficiency in the court system by reducing the number of rescheduled cases. You can see the graphic there in front of you, and I think the graphic really tells the story. But what I will share with you about the program is primarily this. Our cumulative enrollments have increased, and of course, what that effectively meant is that the failure to appear bookings have essentially decreased. The court date reminder program provides our residents with pending court date the opportunity to receive a text, voice, or email notification reminding them of their court date. And the average number of quarterly enrollments in the program for the first year of the program, FY 17-18, was 1,038. cumulative number of enrollments through quarter one in FY 18-19 was 5,304 enrollments. Through Q2, it was 6,143. So as enrollment numbers continue to increase, the number of bookings with failure to appear charges continue to decrease, as the graphic illustrates, and the number of bookings with FTA charges decreased from 1,939 in Q1 FY 18-19 to 1,720 in Q2. So again, a valuable piece of technology that we've invested in, and once again, this technology is in fact paying great dividends for us in our criminal justice resource program.
Mr. Manager, I just have a question. I mean, it's great to see the blue line being the failure to appear is going down, but I'm just curious because it looks like the enrollment in the system is also going down if I'm looking at the brown line, the
Yeah.
trend.
What I would basically surmise is that if that line is decreasing, the more people who are I think the more folks are utilizing the system, hopefully over time, that number will continue to go down. I'm not sure I understand your question, but
Well, I guess I would think that we want to see the brown line going up, which is more people enrolling in the system. And we want to see the blue line going down. We might need to get some clarification from Gudrun on it.
I think we got a
Commissioner?
clarifier here.
Yeah, so that's quarterly enrollment, so that's the number of people who have enrolled in the program per quarter, but the cumulative number of enrollees is increasing.
That makes sense.
It may be that they,
Okay.
with the transition of the DA to a new DA, and that's possible, there wasn't quite as much activity in the court for a particular.
Okay.
We'll loop back to
Yeah.
the Criminal Justice
Right.
Partnership
Mhm.
Program Director and
Right.
ask her
Yeah.
for a follow-up just for
Okay.
clarification. I
Yeah.
think
It
it's-
could be
I
that a lot more people are finding out about it and enrolling.
Then we would see the enrollment numbers going up more. But anyway, we could get some clarification. Commissioner Hill?
I think it's great that Gudrun and the staff at CGRC have implemented this. There are far too many people that were being arrested and put in our detention center just for failure to appear.
Yeah.
It's important that people appear in court, but it is a nonviolent crime.
Right.
And we don't need people there potentially not being able to make bail, losing jobs, losing opportunities, losing time with family. I think this is a very important program, and I'm glad that we're doing this
Yeah.
here in Durham County.
Absolutely.
And I would like to suggest that, assuming we get, clarification on the data question that the chair had, we may want to consider submitting that the NCACC has a Hetner Productivity Award, and it seems like this would be a really good nominee because they like to see data showing that the project works and that it's cost effective. And truthfully, this is a very low-cost
Very low.
program.
Well, with the conference coming up in July, it would be a great addition to add.
Yeah.
And Gudrun and her team do such extraordinary work. This is just one more feather in their cap of the work that they do.
So we'll make those notes and certainly inform Gudrun and we'll work on the submission as well.
And before you leave this slide, I just want to echo what other commissioners have said about the Bull City United program. To see, they work so hard. All of our staff who are working with Bull City United, and to see these results is amazing. And I just really want to commend them. I also want to just highlight the piece about the jobs, because I was actually just recounting this today in a conversation with Commissioner Reckow that, and Mayor Schul, I think, that I remember hearing when Mayor Bell brought in the Department of Justice to do an analysis of the rising violent crime in Durham. And the representative from the Department of Justice, the expert who was there, said, somebody asked, well, what is the best way to stop gun violence? And he said, the best way to stop a bullet is a job. So it's really important that we are always focused on that piece.
And it's, Madam Chair, it's more than just a job. It's a good paying job. It's just a job don't get you no place if you're not making some decent money.
Absolutely.
And actually, I remember reading that report, and it was very telling because they noted that in Durham, we had hollowed out, we had a declining middle class, and we have low income, and then upper middle and high income, but that solid middle is losing those jobs. And so, you're both right.
Can I ask a question
Yes,
about
Commissioner
the
Carter.
actual graph again? The court date reminder program graph, I'm still using on this one, trying to figure it out. Because I agree with what Wendy was asking. On the x-axis, is that divided, like, is each quarter divided into months, days? And so what we're seeing there is it's a continuous line. So does that mean that we're not just looking at sort of a count per month, or are we? Are we looking at it by week, by day, by quarter? Trying to figure out what we're adding up. Is it per week, per?
These are quarterly totals.
Yeah.
Looking at it month.
Well, like if you look at quarter 3 for last year,
Mm-hmm.
it looks like the enrollment in the system was less than 1,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Below 1,000.
And then quarter 4, it's probably 1,200 or so.
That's right.
That adds up to 2,300, not 5,000. I know, I'm just trying, maybe there are other numbers we need to add, not just the one point in time. Maybe this is supposed to be more continuous.
Okay, well, we will get some further information on that.
Yeah, we'll get you clarification
Right.
on that, and when you get the written report, what we will
Right.
do is, because there are still some edits going on inside the report, so when you get the final report, what we will ask Gudrun to do is to clarify
Okay.
that information there.
In general, I think these project summaries are great, and that we have goals laid out there with these, very nice graphic displays and data points. Yeah, thanks.
And just to echo the last comment that Commissioner Howerton made, and our citizen here, Kevin Primus, made, that the light rail jobs will be, the 20,000 plus jobs will all have to have a federal government regulated living wage, all of those jobs, which are Durham Tech, OEWD, and Go Triangle are already creating a program to create a pipeline for the light rail jobs. Yes.
And I think it's so important to promote and tell people about transit-oriented development and those jobs, and to support the greatest football franchise of all time, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Thank you very much, sir.
No, you didn't.
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that. What did you say?
Baltimore Ravens, I think.
Oh, I dare you to say it again. I didn't hear it.
No. It's important to support the greatest football franchise of all time, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
So, Mr. Manager, yes, we'll let you continue.
Okay, Madam Chairman, I have couple more of these project summaries I'd just like to essentially run through very quickly, and then we will transition to our IS&T director to talk a little bit about the transparency portal. The next project summary I want to visit is essentially our utility resiliency initiative that's managed out of our engineering and environmental services department. The goal of utility resiliency, of course, is to ensure that the wastewater treatment plant has the appropriate maintenance and upgrades in order to comply with all state and federal regulation necessary for a safe and reliable operation. When you look at that graph, you see essentially three different graphs. The first one is the interconnect, and basically what we're letting you know there is that the interconnect is under construction and about 90% complete. The second graph is our BNR rehabilitation and upgrade project, and I'll explain a little bit deeper in a couple of seconds, but you can see that there's about 10% there in the design phase, and of course, the chemical feed systems improvement. Let me talk a little bit about what each one of those are. Our interconnect construction is essentially an interconnect that is being installed at the wastewater treatment plant to provide power to the influent pump station should the generator fail in the event of an emergency situation. The interconnect will minimize the potential of the wastewater treatment plant having a sanitary sewer overflow. The interconnect is currently under construction. The notice to proceed was issued on July 16th of 2018 with a completion schedule February 27th of 19 due to lead times, of course. Our BNR rehabilitation and upgrade project is our biologic nutrient reduction, rehabilitation, and upgrade, and it will replace the existing service aeration rotors and blowers and our diffused aeration grids to provide oxygen for that facility. Phase one of the project will include the work to be completed on Train 2 only. And Train 2 will be cleaned out and a repair to the crack at the expansion joint will be completed. In respect to our chemical feeds systems improvements, the chemical feed systems improvements will be completed in phases. Phase one will begin with improvements to the chlorine feed system for the reclaimed water system. And these changes will allow for greater operational control, resulting in energy savings and optimized nutrient removal. The last project summary I want to highlight this afternoon is on our MWBE program. And this is managed, of course, out of our finance department. Now, as you full know, we conduct disparity studies, and a couple of years ago, the Board of Commissioners adopted an aspirational goal for our MWBE program, and that aspirational goal is 25%. You can see that there are probably 7 different lines on that graph. The blue line represents the total spend for procurement, construction, goods, and services. The green-looking line is what the total amount is that we've spent with our MWBE prime contractors and vendors. And of course, the pink line represents the total amount that we've spent with MWBE subcontractors. And as you can see, we still, of course, have some work to do in that space. Our greater spend, of course, comes with the large-scale construction projects. And so as those projects dwindle down in respect to our construction obligations and they get closer to completion, it effectively means that those big dollar spends go away, which means that if we are to maintain some semblance of parity in respect to our goals, the work that we have to do in the goods and services procurement space, it needs to, in fact, increase. But that's what participation looks like as of this report.
Madam Chair.
Yes,
Um,
Commissioner Howard.
Mr. Manager, I'm still getting questions in the community about this in particular. Um, the question is around contracts for people of color. And the way we have it outlined doesn't say that. So I need more information to be able to explain how are we determining the contract for people of color?
We'll be happy to sit down with the purchasing staff and you and walk you through that.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Well, yeah, and I'm glad to see this because I think it does show us that we have a lot of work to do, and because we're not always going to be having big construction projects. And I remember that we learned recently at one of our reports that the real challenge is more of the kind of day-to-day work that goes on within county departments. And this was actually echoed at I was at the our annual lunch that we always have for Minority and Business Week. And even listening to this director of the statewide program said that that was also the challenge at the statewide level. So this is not just a Durham problem. It's an issue everywhere. So I guess, Mr. Manager, it would be good to hear hear a report at some point about what is going to be, to keep following up on our strategies that we're using, and to help with that. And I know I was really glad to see the DeWitt contract because I'd actually heard in the past, a few years ago, that they're a small company and they had trouble applying for our contracts. So, it just...
Is that many of our smaller contractors are not certified. So they're not hub certified, they're not certified as an MBE or WBE. And for DeWitt has never proposed on any of our contracts. So this was the first time that they even offered a proposal for any of our, since they.
Yeah.
The other thing, DeWitt has just changed hands with regards to ownership.
Okay. Well, so what you said about...
It wasn't a WBE.
Okay.
It wasn't a woman business enterprise
Right.
previously as far as ownership is concerned.
Okay. Well, anyway, it will just be good to follow up on the purchasing issue, which looks like is where we have to focus on.
Exactly. The good thing about the manner in which we are able to begin getting at the data is it affords us the opportunity to look at it, to graph it, to get the story told, and further inform our decision-making as it relates to things like strategies. And so I'm quite frankly glad that we're at this point that we can begin to sort of compile the information this way. I'll have to, again, kind of give a shout out, if you will, to Commissioner Reckow, because several months back, she turned me on to this book called Factfulness by Hans Rosling. And actually, that's our next reading assignment, as I might have shared with you. But part of what we are trying to do in this process is to simplify the data, the graphics, the information in a way that John Q. Public can look at it and make sense of it, and then have to spend a lot of time reading a dissertation in order to understand what's going on. And so the report coming forth, as I said earlier, it's in the evolutionary stages, and that's what we're moving towards. And so you'll see all of this. The report's actually up to about 100 and close to 160 pages now, right, Dion? How much? Yeah, about 150 pages now. And, I advise you again to remember the front of the report will look pretty much the same, but when you get into the appendix section, that's where you'll see a lot of the data, the graphics, the analysis, the explanation around, what is going on in some of these key service areas. I'm going to shut up right there, Madam Chairman, and members of the board, and I'm going to ask Greg to come up to do the next portion of the report to talk a little bit about our transparency portal and to tell you what that means.
Commissioner Carter.
So just a general question about the quarterly management report, and that is, in each one of the quarterly management reports, will the project summaries be different, or will we always see the same project? Will all the projects be summarized? Will select projects be summarized?
Dion, can you go back to the very first slide? I think that's right. So, no, not that one, right there.
Project highlights.
So the project highlights on those project summary pages in the very front of them are all the major projects that we have going on that are report worthy. Those will remain the same. When you get to the back end of the quarterly report, which is where the appendix is located, that's where you'll see various and sundry project summaries. Those will change on a quarterly basis as we desire to highlight certain goal areas. And so that's where you'll see the major changes.
So I thought when we looked at this project highlights page where we just went away again.
Right there?
There it is, yes. That
Front of the report.
the blue, the lines that are X is blue, those are the projects that are summarized in the appendix, or there are other projects that are summarized in the appendix. I can just wait and see the report.
Yeah, the blue text that you're seeing, it's blue because it's hyperlinked. So those are the reports that are represented in the appendix. And for the most part, quarter to quarter in a given fiscal year, they will remain the same.
Okay.
As the fiscal year changes, then a new set or an updated set of reports will be in this project highlight section. But for the most part, in a given fiscal year, as we move from quarter to quarter, they will be those same reports. And those are, the reports in the project highlight section for each goal area are the only reports that are in the appendix.
Thank you. That's a really clear answer. Really appreciate that. I would be curious to know how we select projects to highlight.
It's random.
Is it just random?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Each of the GMs have obviously their portfolios.
Your little comments.
And so we just kind of,
Well, I ask because, some project highlights might be really positive, and some project highlights might show lots of room for improvement, and we kind of need to see both.
well, you're going to see it all in the report.
Well, but it didn't sound like it, because we're only going to see certain projects highlighted.
In the appendix,
Of the report.
I got what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Looks like Drew would like to chime in. Drew?
Here's,
For the general managers and I, there was some rumbling of discontent over there. I think the projects that were chosen were things that were moving, where things were changing, where a quarterly update would be valuable, but also where there was clear alignment to strategic plan initiatives and objectives. So they were chosen sort of out of a combination of those.
I would think all of our projects.
They ought to, but I think some are particularly well aligned.
But they're under them. We've got that page so nicely laid out where we've got the goal, the objective, and then the strategy with the project. So I assume. Anyway.
I guess my point is there are hundreds of other programs and projects that the county is undertaking at any given moment, right? So these are here for a reason, both because they're moving. There are things happening in these areas right now, so it's worth a quarterly. Particularly worth a quarterly update, and because the alignment to the strategic plan is particularly strong.
Maybe when we see the first report, it'll help. I don't know.
Well, and I would like to compare the second one to the first one to see how they're. I'm really just trying to get a feel for what the report, how it's embodied, what it contains, the structure of it, how it's going to either stay the same or shift from time to time. So I'll know how to fully appreciate it and
right now, evolution is the key.
use it, right? Because
Mhm.
we're managing for results. We need to be able to use it. I just want to be sure I understand. So, and I also just wanted to say specifically about the utility resilience, I really don't understand that one. I don't know whether I'm the only one, but, you know, part where the interconnect is under construction is 90% complete, that sounds great, but then it says scheduled completion was actually fiscal year 18-19, so I'm not sure whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. The BNR rehabilitation upgrade project, 10% complete, or is it 10% finished with the design?
And it's just design.
10% finished with the design, or is the design?
Design is 10% complete. That's
But
Look at the
the same stage, you see what I'm saying? The same graph goes across from 0 to 100% from design to completion. What percentage of which of those is that? Which is that's what's.
Yeah, I think what
We
you're.
can talk about it later.
Yeah.
No, I do see that. I just.
Mm-hmm.
in the design. The design, you look at the total project.
Yeah. I guess what you're also getting at, Commissioner Carter, it's hard to know what's the criteria that we're trying to meet? Like, what, where are we supposed to be? So how do we know if this is good or bad? I mean, I see maybe a little bit more context of the meaning of.
Actually, that makes sense to me now. Thank you.
Okay.
Really need the context. I see it now.
Greg said he's ready.
Okay, Greg.
Ready, Greg?
Ready.
Thank you, County Manager, and good evening, Board of County Commissioners. What you're looking at now is something that we're working on. It's called the Durham County Transparency Portal, and the whole objective behind the portal is to build basically a front door into all of the data that Durham County will make available to the residents and citizens of Durham. In other words, we don't want folks having to go to, as an example, let's say the public health website to find dashboards, or the library website to find dashboards, or the IT website to find our dashboards. And so we're gonna build a front door. So if you're looking for, on this graphic, if you're looking for MFR data, it's just one click to go to MFR data. If you're looking for county dashboards, there'll be one click to go to all of our dashboards. If you're looking for the open data portal, that will be available from this front door, et cetera, et cetera. So again, this is simply, we're calling it a transparency portal. Many counties and cities around the nation call this kind of a front door a data transparency portal. And it's to, again, drive transparency and accountability for Durham County government. If you highlight, as an example, next slide, if you highlight managing MFR, you just put your mouse on MFR, that color will change. And then if you were to click on managing for results, next slide, it will open up and give you a little bit of information on what is MFR before you go into looking at data. So the whole objective is to give the person who's clicking around some information on what these things are before you launch into a bunch of dashboards and reports and what have you. So this is just all we wanted to do this evening was give you some idea of what this portal will look like when it's all said and done. Everything you're looking at this evening is draft. We are heads down working with a vendor to build this out, and hopefully it will be something that will give us an opportunity to really showcase.
I love this. I love this. I love the idea of not having to click, click, click all over the place trying to find what I'm looking for. So this looks wonderful.
Very good, thank you.
Is it ready to go?
No, it's not ready to go. We're heads down. We're probably 60 to 90 days out. You know, we have, because we will be incorporating a number of different types of reports, you know, whether Power BI reports, you know, different types of dashboards from different places within the county, we really have to test this and make sure it's robust enough for all of the data that we have to showcase.
So what you're going to see next, Heidi, is actually what will be going into some of those spaces and places, and Keith's going to do the demonstration on the data through Power BI that will feed this portal.
Okay. The only other comment I'll make is I heard you talking about the court reminder application. I just want to remind that that's a piece of innovation that was done here from scratch.
That's right.
We have shared it with many counties throughout the state of North Carolina.
For free.
Yes, for free. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Good evening,
Keith.
Commissioners. The Budget Office was tasked earlier this year when the manager drew up a nice piece of paper and showed the GMs what he wanted, and he wanted a better data-driven organization. So the Budget Office got to work on that real quick. And what we created was a temporary website that will eventually move to Greg's more secure, more robust website soon. But we started the website you're looking at now that's currently available for commissioners to look at and is available for the public to look at. I believe I need to go back to the slide. Click on that and so what you're looking at here it's just the information I want you to note. You can write this down, or if you have a PDF of it, you can go to the link there. It's also available on the Durham County public website. It's either a splash page or it's under the Budget Office Department. Multiple ways to get to this link, but the key thing is www.data-dconc.org. That is the temporary data analysis place related to MFR and some of the Power BI things that the Budget Office has done that we're going to show you real quick and move through. Once again, it's going to move to a county-built website soon. And just so you know, we spent an exorbitant amount. I think it was $240 a year for this website, so I don't think we're out of too much cash doing that.
So, and Keith, just to let you know, David, after our retreat, he sent us a link to all of this.
Fantastic. So have
so
some of y'all looked through it?
I did, and I got very frustrated when I clicked on the dashboards.
And the Commissioner Reckow did as well. And so we're learning. We're not data visualization people just yet in terms of being perfect at it. But I'm here to explain a few things. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Some of them they weren't there yet. The
links were broken. Everything I've checked now works.
Okay.
I can show you real quick.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I need to look at it
Yes, ma'am.
again then. Okay.
So there are three major areas that we want you to look at. There's one for departmental performance measures, which is basically the MFR side of things. There's about 17 strategic plan community measures. That's the second box you can click on. And then there's a box you can click on for the budget and brief, just to sort of see the total budget and revenues and expenditures. Yes, ma'am.
So the strategic plan dashboards are now up.
Yes, ma'am. I saw that this afternoon and was shocked. Last week they were up, and then I looked about an hour and a half before this meeting and saw that they weren't there, and I've reestablished those links. So they are now there. I had no idea. Believe me, I was a little freaked out when I saw it an hour and a half ago.
Okay.
Having said that, I'm not going to click on these. I've already clicked on it, but if you click on the the Managing for Results, you'll get a site that pops up that looks like this. You can select any Goal 3 department measures, and this is where Commissioner Reckow got a little confused. Where is there a button that says it? Remember, Dion said anything in blue is a link, and the same thing happens on this website. And while it's not clear, I'm letting you know right now, we'll be changing this, Commissioner Reckow. But if you click on the Goal 3 department performance measure, it will take you to the performance measures we're currently showing and analyzing related to Goal 3 related departments.
And the reason I was confused is it's not the color blue you usually identify with links.
We'll do it with a better blue and underline. We may even put something other than that, a picture or something. Having said that, once you get to this group, you can scroll down and see different measures for different departments. If you want to see detail, you click on blue again, and it will take you to more detail about that department, show you the numbers, and give you some explanation. This is a very interactive process behind the scenes where departments work with Bethany Shoemaker in the budget office, who's a performance analyst, and worked with Matt Schnars before he went back to the city, because we have 2 performance and management analysts, where the departments own these measures and own the explanations of the measures and own the changes to the measures. And every quarter we ask for updates and updates to the reasons for changes. This is where you can see that information.
Keith, what's the timeline to have it all complete?
Have it all complete. That is an open-ended statement. What does all complete mean to you?
All of the different ones areas that you have here, you said it's not complete yet. So some of it is finished.
I don't remember saying it's not complete, but it isn't complete. It will be a number of years before completion. And what I mean by that, there are an infinite number of measures that a department can measure itself against. They'll always be changing. We'll always be adding new measures. There's a lot more to it behind the scenes than just adding a measure. There's the collecting of the data, making sure it's correct data. We will add more and more measures. In terms of
so you clicked on one area.
Yes, ma'am.
That you said that had a lot more information that's already there, and some of the others have not. So the question is, which ones are?
There are a number. There'll be more departmental measures as departments have better ownership of their measures, and they start adding more information to this portion of the data of the measures we're measuring. The second one, if we go back to the dashboard, the strategic plan dashboards. Right now, we're only collecting community level measures, and those are at the highest level. There are the strategic plan is made up of goals, objectives, and strategies, and there are measures for objectives and there are measures for strategies. We're still working towards getting those measures, collecting the data, analyzing the data, having a department own an objective measure or a strategy measure, and then write up changes to whatever's happening in those measures. It may even flow into the quarterly management report. We're still working on that. Those measures will be added to that button. The budget and brief probably will stay at the level it is because it's meant for the citizens to understand at a very high level. For commissioners, we can make you Power BI reports that are a subset of this that go as deep into the budget and the financial system as you want to go. We have complete control of that data. Let me show you an indicator you might see. So if you were to, on the budget and brief page, let me go back here. If you were to click on the strategic plan dashboard, it would click over to something that looks like this. And you would then pick the goal area. So again, let's pick goal 3. If I pick goal 3, it's going to take a second to update because it has to load some data into it. While that's loading, I'll show you goal 1's. Oh, frozen up on me. Bear with me. There we go. So if I want to see the crime rate for unincorporated Durham, violent and property, if I double click this down, it shows a Power BI report that shows you the measures over the years. If you hover over that line, it'll pop up and show you the number of the crime rate numbers. It'll explain it down here. And remember, you can do this at home. You can do it right now. If you get bored with another presentation on your computer, you're welcome to look at this 24 hours a day as you see fit.
So I need to ask there. You've combined violent and property crime in one line. They're not.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Be good to separate.
We can all.
Yeah.
Feel free to send in your observations and what you request, and we'll try to orient the measures as best we can to what you all think is the best measure.
Well, I think just separating them, having just combined, but also one that's separate.
And again, there are some fairly simple measures here. This is the ISO insurance rating for each fire district and fire department. And then, again, all you have to do is you can go back to the top, go to the home, go down to the bottom, and then you can click on, go back to the 5 goal areas, click another goal area, and look through those measures. I know I could spend hours showing you all this. I don't think I have hours. Last bit I'm going to show you here. You go back, remember, if you click on the budget and brief, I'm going to click on that one. It's already open. This is a true Power BI embedded into this website. Power BI is a program that can do all sorts of really cool visualizations and analysis of data, and our office has fallen in love with it. Just a few key things I want you to note. There are 3 different reports. If you look down here at the bottom where it says 1 of 3, you can use the arrow and go to 2 of 3 or 3 of 3. If you want to see the names of them, you can click in the middle, the 1 of 3, and it will bring up the names. If you want to see a bigger version of this, sort of fill up your screen, you can do that. And now the really cool thing is you can hover over here, and if you let it hover over, it shows you for 2017 the budget by functional area. You can click on Goal 5 and see the budget over time for Goal 5 related departments. That's like an on-off button. If I click Goal 5 again, it turns off. Now I'm looking at across all funds. If I want to select just the general fund budget, they're all clickable buttons, and everything changes. And then if I want to see the functional area,
This is awesome.
and then if I go to, if you want a little more detail, adopted general fund expenditures, give some extra information in here. This data, the expenditure sides are updated every day. You can see we've had 69.5% of the fiscal year go by. We've spent about 66% of our budget. This is a tree map. This shows you sort of the approximate size of each of these types of budgets. So if we have a budget of $434 million, $228 million of that is for operating expenses, and $138 million is for personnel. Now, if I click a department, like the budget office, we're probably personnel heavy. And if I hover over that, it'll show you the top 5 line items, how much is budgeted for those line items, and how much is spent year to date. Does that make sense?
Amazing.
So again,
Amazing.
explore as much as you want. There's one last thing I want to show you. We have on the front, and I haven't done any explaining of this yet because we're in budget season, but I added this data just for curious commissioners and citizens. Again, it's available for citizens, but mostly I got it for commissioners. This is a link to North Carolina Association of County Commissioner Budget and Tax Survey data. They give that data out every year annually. What they do not do is connect it across time. The point being is everything's a heck of a lot more interesting if you look at it longitudinally. Let me see 10 years worth of per pupil growth in expenditures, not just 1 year, because then I immediately want to know what the last year was. Well, Power BI has allowed us to do that for the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners. And when you click on this link down here where it says Budget and Tax Survey, it will bring up this data, and you see there are 15 different reports. Well, the first 3 are related to sales tax related data population, but if you go to NCACC total, you can see school data related information, which is like how much each county spends on current expense, how much each county spends on current capital, how much they spend per pupil, a whole lot of different things, the tax rate for every county. I mean, I could show you this for hours, but I just want to give you an idea that this
Keith,
data.
I lost how we get to this dashboard.
How do you get to this particular dashboard?
I lost that.
So on the data-dconc.org website, down at the bottom, where it says North Carolina
Oh, I see.
Association
It's
of
back.
County
Okay.
Commissioners,
I
but
see now.
right there.
Mhm.
You click on that, and it will bring up this embedded Power BI. I don't know why that's green. I think it's struggling here a little bit, but if I click on North Carolina school data, and this is one thing I want to show you as it takes a second to draw up. This is Durham's, and this screen is starting to struggle. You're looking at certain key metrics related to Durham. And the top one, the very top left, is public school allotted ADM figure. And then there's the charter school ADM. And we're looking at Durham, even though it looks like it's going a little haywire. Remember, the control key is your friend when you look at this one. If I wanted to compare against Forsyth, if I hold the control key down and hit Forsyth, now it compares against Forsyth. If you want to compare yourself to different folks.
So Durham is comparing against Forsyth here?
Only in my selection, yes ma'am. If I hold the control key and click Forsyth, it turns it off and it goes back. If I want to compare against, I use Forsyth because they're roughly in our neighborhood of number of students. Union might be another one that we go to. Screen here's going a little haywire.
Mine is frozen.
On Union, you can see us compared to Union County. And this is all, again, North Carolina Association of County Commissioner budget and tax survey data, and I'm looking at like 11 years worth of
You can
history,
see they're
longitudinal.
similar sized county, but have much more in the way of.
Yes, ma'am. You can see a lot of interesting things in this data. One that I found particularly interesting, if the graphics will show, and I'll be done after this one, and my graphics are given out here. Bear with me. I don't think it's going to pick up. This is a computer. Oh, there we go. This is population data we get, and it shouldn't be in green. I don't know why it is. But if I pick the large counties here, what I found interesting, and it's not showing, is each of these cities in these counties are following major interstate. You were to see every one of these cities, they are following 95, 40, and 85 in every large county. That's the lifeblood of the state, are the interstates. And then the only other large cities are where there are universities. Point being, feel free to click through all these, call me, call our office if you have questions. There's very little instruction about these because I just wanted to get it up there. We're in budget season, but when we get a catch of breath, we will write instructions for citizens as well as anyone else to better understand the data they're looking at. But if you're adventurous, it's there for you to look at. Yes, ma'am, Commissioner.
So presently, we haven't a link in our inbox to access it. It's not available just on the county website?
It is available only on the county website.
Only
I
on
don't
the
know what
county
you mean
website.
by linking your inbox.
Well, my question was there a link in our inbox to access it?
I can
You say
send one
no.
to you for sure. I will do that as soon as I sit down. I will send
Okay.
an email to every commissioner that gives a direct link. But the link is on the budget page of the public website, and I think it's also on a splash page of the public website. So you can find it multiple ways.
I hope, as I mentioned to you when I talked to you, Keith, that we're going to put it more front and center so it's accessible to citizens from the homepage of our website.
Yes, ma'am.
in way, shape,
Commissioner Reckow, to that point, and we talked about this last week at the work session, we're going to be kind of reworking the website as a result of a number of things coming forward. But again, remember that the basic design that we have on our website came as a result of the consultant coming in and essentially heat mapping the most used areas, which is why our website is structured and laid out the way that it is. The other point that I wanted to make, based on everything that you've seen this afternoon or this evening, is essentially this. We told you two and a half years ago this was a long and arduous process. But the key word here for everything that you've seen tonight, as happy as we are to be at this point, the key word is evolution. So we continue to evolve. There will come, a point in time that you will get an opportunity to have the transparency dashboard up there and link directly over to all of this information. We hope that, in some years down the road, as far as reporting is concerned, you'll be able to go into the system and queue out, whatever reports you so desire. But what I can say, and that I'm happy about, is that we are, in fact, light years away from where we were 3 years ago in terms of our ability to produce this kind of data and to have these kind of analytics at our fingertips. So I just want to applaud the staff for their efforts. Last thing I'll say is Keith talked about lots of different data. When we started down this path initially, all of the departments, the 27 departments coming together, I think they generated something in the neighborhood of about 2,500 different measures and or metrics. And all of these metrics you won't have the benefit of seeing, probably don't want to see them, but we'll have the ability to drill down in places and spaces on a lot of information that will hopefully put us as an organization in a much better place to do better decision-making. And so, again, remember that the key word is evolution for all of this work as we continue to make progress. I want to thank the staff.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Manager, and to Keith and Greg and everyone who's worked on this. This is going to be a great resource for our community. And I was even sitting here thinking about all kinds of applications for Durham Public School students to be using this for doing research. And I'm thinking maybe for you all, Keith and Greg, to think about ways that, I mean, this is an introduction by doing it at our meeting. Hopefully people who are watching at home can now, on their own look at this. But I'm wondering if you all can think with staff about ways that we can help the community to engage with this. So, maybe there could be some sessions at the library, maybe at the senior center, in the schools, not that you have time for this now, but thinking about what would be a great way, and maybe even some summer interns that could come up with some ideas of how we can really make, just let people know. I mean, some, young people are going to have no trouble with this, right? But thinking about how we really roll this out for the community, I think, instead of just putting it on our website. Yes, Commissioner Carter.
So, wow, this is just an incredible amount of data and information, and I'm looking, and it will be fun, right, to explore all the different parts of the link that you've showed us. One question that I have, because there is so much to get to look at, which is fantastic, but one question I'm wondering is, somewhere in this, in all of this data, is there a dashboard that is for all of the counties' progress over time and has like green, red, yellow for how we're doing compared to our benchmark for each data point? And maybe it would be, there were those 3 categories. The strategic plan categories had 17 metrics you mentioned. Would those metrics be the ones that you would consider if someone wanted to get a snapshot of the county's, how the county's functioning, how we're doing, meeting our goals? Would that be the dashboard?
That is ultimately where we desire to be. We're not there yet.
Still not there, okay.
That's what evolution means.
Okay, didn't know whether we were there yet.
No.
Okay.
But that's the end that we're working towards. You mentioned benchmarks as well. There was a time, Commissioner Carter, in the not too distant past, if we were to even try and benchmark ourselves for basic information, our benchmarking essentially was to get on the phone and to call some surrounding counties to get information. As you saw through the link from the North Carolina County Commissioners Association tonight, obviously we don't have to do that anymore. When we want to run comparative data analytics against our neighbors on various pieces of information or data, we have the ability to do that. But what we have to be careful about in doing that is essentially this. I'll just pull an example out of the air. We might, for example, look at County X and compare them to ourselves in respect to what the cost per unit might be to carry out a particular work function or product. They may have a very different workflow process than we have. And just looking at the data, we may be $50 higher, and we want to understand why. And so it would effectively mean we've got to do a bit more research there and have some conversations and things of that nature in order to explain those disparities. But we understand that. But at a very basic level, we do, should I say, we are positioned now to begin answering some of the questions, quite frankly, that we never had answers to.
My question, really, I wasn't thinking about benchmarking ourselves against other counties, although that's great too. What I was really referring to is benchmarking ourselves against goal, the outcome where, what is the measure we're trying to attain, and have we achieved
Made
adequate
progress.
towards
Right.
that goal?
So if you look at what you're asking, we'll take family prosperity just as a case in point, and we'll look at the poverty rate. Obviously, we don't have all of the solutions here. It's a combination of a number of different institutions in the community. But if that's a key measure in our strategic plan, then we can look at what's happening over time and see hopefully what is in fact occurring and understand the strategies underneath that particular goal area and how we're working towards it. But, we can tell you at a basic level that the poverty rate gone down, okay, maybe by a percentage point or two. But the real work comes in explaining why. And we've got to do work in that space in order to be able to provide you with some meaningful information around whether or not the strategies that we are in fact employing are working, or whether we should be doing something different. And we're not there yet.
So I just want to say, Hans Rosling, the author of Factfulness, was very focused on making data easily understandable to lots of people and interesting. He did lots of TED Talks. But he ended his PowerPoints often at these TED Talks swallowing a sword because he wanted people to be excited about his talk. So I'm going to challenge the manager or Keith.
I think I should challenge the board.
No sword swallowing tonight? All right.
You can practice for the next presentation.
All right. Well, thank you so much and to everyone who's worked hard on this, and looking forward to how this improves the work that we do in Durham County government. Okay, we actually have a closed session tonight.
Was that added?
It was
Was it
just
always on the
added by
Always there?
our attorney,
Added.
Seiler.
Okay.
Attorney Seiler, do you want to address this, your request to add a closed session?
I want to address it. No, we need to go into closed session.
Okay. So we are being requested to adjourn into closed session pursuant, to consult with an attorney employed or retained by the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body, which privilege is hereby acknowledged pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11A3.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Recco, seconded by Commissioner Hill. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Or unanimously adjourned into closed session. We have adjourned from closed session, and I would entertain a motion for us to approve the memorandum of agreement with the estate of Eunice Fennell. Moved by Commissioner Howerton, seconded by Commissioner Reckow. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. And do we need a second motion to authorize me on behalf of? Okay.
Go ahead and make another motion.
Okay.
Authorize the chair to sign our.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Carter, seconded by Commissioner Hill. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And the motion is unanimously approved. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Commissioner Howard and seconded by Commissioner Carter. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And we are unanimously adjourned.